Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Decriminalize Nature podcast, where we speak with leaders across the world about the decriminalized nature movement, the connection to nature, and to the sacred. My name is Larry Norris. I am on the Decriminalize Nature Board of Directors. Tonight, we have Decriminalize Nature Chair Carlos Plazola and Decriminalize Nature Board of Director Shane Norte to have a conversation about the sacred and nature. Thank you very much. Carlos, off to you.
Right on. Well, it's a pleasure to be here with Shane Norte. I think you all are really going to enjoy this conversation. He has something really unique to offer all of us. And so I've had the blessing and the opportunity to spend a couple of days with Shane in ceremony and learning about his ancestry, his land, the way he approaches ceremony and spirit, and it really left a deep impression on me. So I'm really happy to be here with Shane today. Shane, I'm going to start by just asking you, brother, if you just tell us a little bit about yourself. You know, who's this beautiful child next to you, and who are you, man?
Yeah, good afternoon, guys. Shane Norte here. This is my son Ray, coming out of Southern California from the La Jolla Band of Indians down here, located about 30 minutes south out of Temecula. And, you know, I'm just here, just thankful to be here. You know, like I said, with Church of the People for Creator Mother Earth, board member with Decriminalize Nature, Oakland. And, you know, like you're saying, beautiful journey of, you know, sacredness and being a part with this medicine. Like you said, to be able to share, I was just talking about this with my wife the other day about how, you know, what we're doing here, it's a serious thing, you know, meaning like it's really happening. Like it's not like this stuff is not happening, you know. I was just talking about, you know, like I said, HBO, you know, they're supposed to come here with Brian Gumbel, and I was explaining to her about like these things are real, you know, like this medicine. The way we pray, the way we worship, the way we honor, you know, this medicine and the earth, the creator, it's like it's happening, and we're seeing the live results of our work, you know, our progress, our hard work, our efforts paying off. And then to also now meet you, you know, before all this within, you know, Decriminalize Nature, when you came and sat, it's just beautiful. Like I said, to come from that way of not being in the position I am now, because back then I didn't fully have the church, you know, I didn't have it state recognized, I didn't have my nonprofit, I wasn't fully recognized through my tribe yet, you know, I was just in the beginning processes. And so, you know, I'll take it back, you know, because I actually got really into the middle. But, you know, thank you again for allowing me to be here to have this conversation. And I think one thing that I really want to express in this podcast is, like we were saying, the sacredness, you know, not just with the ceremony and the medicine, but just us as people, you know, us as people being here and rising above, you know, the pollution on all levels, not just like the water, the air, but just pollution in general. I'm just talking the mind, the body, the spirit, earth. There's just general pollution. And for us to be doing this work is beautiful, and to include people like myself, you know, an indigenous person, the knowledge that we have. I was talking to someone about this the other day, you know, it's like there's no arguing the fact of that we fought each other, you know, we killed each other, we did things that human beings do, but overall we had a balance of living where we were at and the land that we were on. Like I was telling people, we weren't mining uranium, we weren't putting nuclear reactors down by the ocean, we weren't dropping fucking A-bombs on people, like we weren't doing things like that, you know. So to go back to the sacredness and respecting the earth, I just think it's a beautiful thing now to approach, because I've been battling, you know, with I guess you could say generational trauma, systemic racism, you know, all these types of things have been put on Native communities to where it's made me feel like this work is not that good. Meaning, like I kind of feel like my ancestors, when they kind of had to pray in secret and they had to like hide their faith and their connection, because they knew like they were going to get killed or put in jail, or they knew that like something terrible was going to happen to them or their family because of how they prayed or how they conducted ceremonies. And you know, I've been battling that a lot this whole journey, really battling that, I guess you could say, generational trauma and the systemic racism, that has been placed upon not just my people, but everybody. But within the Native communities, I really felt that like doing this work is wrong, and it wasn't going to work out for any of us. It's like, I thought for a second I wasn't doing right. I thought I was doing wrong. And come to find out, my mother brought me to my lands after I did my activism work and traveling throughout the country and standing with other Native tribes. She brought me back to my lands and took us to our sacred rock, and expressed to me about how our people have always done medicines and healed, and they use these to combat like what I'm feeling, and so when I went up there, I ended up seeing the rock, and she's expressing to me like the mushrooms and whatnot and how we did that. Our people had ceremony and they knew about these healings, these practices, these teachings of the plants, the earth, the creator, and the mother, and so within that, it was just really beautiful to understand, like, not only my people did it, but now I can have that faith to like go on with this work and not have to feel so like, I guess, outcasted or like belittled because of what religion has done to like my culture, and how much of it has really erased and taken away to where like we don't even have the true cores of like how our people got through traumas and like hard times, and even just growing, whether you're a man or a woman. Like there was ceremonial things that helped each man or woman grow and progress into adulthood, from adolescence to adulthood to older women, to death. And to me, those are very crucial for any human being to have a core understanding of those concepts within their life. And we all know, like, going to school, getting a job, like, it doesn't teach you really how to be a man or a woman. They don't even teach you in school how to properly be a man or a woman, or how to engage with other human beings outside of like business corporate talk, or like what school you went to or who you know. And it's that's one thing where I'm trying to understand now how to communicate with human beings on I guess you could say, a spiritual connection, a human being concepting the meaning of like the water, the land, the fire, the earth, the air, kids, families, because if, like you were saying earlier, it's life. If you're doing life, most likely you're going to have kids. Most likely you're going to have a wife, a partner. You're going to engage in those other steps in life. And then that's going to teach you, whether you're a man or a woman, about life, real life, how life really is and how unpredictably wild and beautiful it is. And like I said, business and school and college, like, they don't teach you any of that, and even if you were to take courses, it's like, they don't teach you how to be a human being. They teach you how to be a workhorse and how to be cold and distant and isolate and just abandon like the humanity that we have as people. And I think through this medicine, through my ancestors and how they walked on this earth, to be able to express that to people now who want to listen, I think is a very core piece to the missing piece of the pie. Because for one, people who don't have that lineage, it's not in their DNA to have the knowledge of this land at all. So that's why I don't take it so harsh on people to get on them, because I know if I was in their shoes, I'd be in that same position I was when I was colonized and I was put through the brainwashing and through the schooling and politics and all that stuff. So it's like, I kind of am in the same shoes as everybody else, and so with that, that's where I think it's beautiful, the work that we're doing, bringing back the sacred of not only the plants, but community, people, space, and taking that away from, like I say, big pharma, state, corporations, governments, and allowing our people to utilize these medicines to basically articulate how it is or what it is we may need or do to heal ourselves or become better people. And tribal people, indigenous people throughout the world have always been a community-based, plant-based, healing type, ceremonial, organized people, and I think it's beautiful to bring that back, not only to the Indian people, but to other communities, because we all need help and we all need assistance in all forms, so.
And I really appreciate when you reached out to me, gosh, maybe a year and several months ago, and invited me to come do ceremony with you, I could sense by how you were speaking about it that you were somebody that was deeply connected to spirit, to the land. But to give people a sense that are listening here, really of you and where you come from, would you share with us a little bit about your tribe's history, sort of where you're from? And you shared with me about the 10,000 years ago, one of your leaders, chief, said, gave you some history, gave you some advice, and but also just your connection to that specific place of land, and share with us a little bit so we know who we're talking to here.
Yeah, no. So the Payokuchim, the Westerners, like basically in our stories, it talks about how of the so-called Southern California area, we were the first people and the oldest people to inhabit this part of so-called California. And the land that I'm located at right now, it's not our original territory. It became our territory after the world flooded, and way back when, I don't know the exact date, but the story goes of that our chief was fishing in the ocean, because our original territory and homeland was Oceanside. It's about 35 miles from here. It's not too far from here. And so he was fishing. He was gathering fish for his people, and the sun came to him and expressed to him about how the world was going to flood, and how a lot of people, animals, a lot of things, chaos, confusion, death, a lot of things were going to come on the world, not just there. Because I was just expressing this the other day with someone, because I was telling them about how, like, for instance, the Bible. So when they talk about Noah's Ark, I was like, they talk about these figures, and they make it as if these figures are the only ones that were hearing God talk to them. The story that I'm telling you right now is a motherfucking Noah's Ark story here in California. Okay, so like what I'm trying to tell people is, like, it wasn't just one race of people that was hearing so-called God to say, hey, take these people, these animals, and go to the top of the mountain or go underground. So within that story, he told the people, my chief, to tell his people, like, hey, you guys got to get your canoes, you got to get your people, and you guys got to take the so-called San Luis Rey, which is the river that leads from the top of where I'm at, the mountain, and the land I'm at, the river, down to Oceanside. And from there, they expressed that you're going to take this river, it's going to lead you up to Palmer Mountain, and within those days that you're going to go up there, the world's going to be flooded. Don't leave the mountain. Don't come down. Just give it a couple of days, and when you're up there, sing, ceremony, continue to do the things that you normally do. And when the water subsides, this is going to be your new home forever. It's going to be your forever resting place. From here on out, you have to basically, they're expressing, like, go down, clean up, and build yourself your home, build your land, and get your wamkishes and build your wamkish and your fires, because I'm coming back. I'm coming back. And it's talking about the creator. So now fast forward, and now that we're here, now you got the Paicachim people, the Liseños, Spanish, which branches off into the tribe. There's Pachanga, Palma, Paula, Rincon, Mesa Grande, San Pascual, San Isabel, La Jolla. And but we're all one branch of the same people that just spread off. So basically, like I always tell people, we're some of the oldest people here in Southern California that have lived through the flood and probably many other earth-changing events prior before that. And to now be here with this medicine, bringing in the people and expressing the story, like how you're saying, let's people know who we're talking to. It's actually beautiful now to have that space to let people know, like, outside of the history you do know, there is human history that predates the history that we know here, whether it's here, Oregon, Utah, Nevada, Mexico. There's fucking history that predates the history people know. And so those are the people that my ancestors are, indigenous people. So it's a beautiful thing to now have this connection, to this land and all the other lands, because where I've traveled and the waters and the oceans and the mountains I've been to gather that knowledge, and now be able to use this medicine as basically an accelerator of feeling and understanding the surrounding area and land and creator.
And you know what?
Powerful.
What's a trip is just recent discoveries all over the world have shown that around 12,000 years ago, there actually was a flood that washed over the entire earth. And so when you told me that story, it was really amazing to hear that your storytelling goes back that far, right? For most of us, we learn history through a book. You're learning your stories through your passed down. We walked your land when I was there. Absolutely beautiful there, and the mountains are beautiful. Would you share a bit about kind of your reservation and what it's like? What is it like there? And then how did you come to start doing ceremony in the way you do it? Why did you even start doing it, Shane?
Yeah, no, life on the reservation, it's, I gotta say it's crazy here because in terms of like the people, it's more average based age people, and then adolescents, teenagers, but for the most part, it's bad. There's still a good amount of, trauma and addiction and substance abuses and whatnot. And I didn't really grow up too much in it. I grew up with my father and my mother who lived, either off the res or away from like the original like mass of people on the res. So it was cool to kind of like be away from that, to actually grow up, because once I grew up around 18, 19, a lot of the people that I did grow up with and knew throughout my years growing up on the reservations and seeing people, a lot of them died, a lot of them, like suicide crashes, overdoses, hooked on drugs, violence, prison, all sorts of different things. And, it's still continuing today. Like, I just lost a friend last week, got out of jail, had two daughters, overdosed, 26. And like, it's just crazy that all these things, just like about a month ago, maybe, there's a girl who was found dead out here, and they said that she was murdered. And it's like, it happens a lot on the res. A lot of women go missing, killed, raped, and then kids, always, around drugs and alcohol, or because they see it so much, it becomes like an adaptation of saying like, oh, it's okay, or I've seen it enough to where like it doesn't really get to me. It's become an adaptive, thing to cope with within a household or friends or relatives, and now that I'm older and I have my cousins and relatives telling me, and I'm hearing all the stuff going on in the res, I'm just like, damn, like, we really are going through a lot. And it's not like this stuff stopped. It's not like, our alcohol rates have gone down. It's not like our suicide rates have gone down. It's not like our drug overdose. None of those statistics have went down. They're higher. They're even more deadlier than ever. And when I moved out to go do my work in Arizona, that's where I was battling, like I said, that copper mine that was trying to, well, not even trying, they did, where they got $60 billion worth of copper in the sacred grounds with Apache. And like the story I told you about us coming here, when the world flooded, that's where they went inside that earth. And they came out after the water subsided there. And so like that's their emergence place. And that's what's a trip, like to see these things happening. But not only that, but that's where I learned my grounding, because, I didn't sleep in a tent. I just slept on the floor. I literally would build a fire and I just lay on that dirt on the earth every night, and I just started becoming accustomed to like feeling, just like if you're around like a grandma or your mom or aunt, or like you're just around them enough, and like you don't even got to talk to them, you just start to feel like what's going on with them, or like if they're thinking, they're stressed out, or like they're happy, or they want this done, or they don't want that done. Like you just start to feel it, at least if you're engaged within that woman's feelings and emotions. And I felt that same way with like the earth. It was like I was starting to feel the desecration of the earth and like the disrespect of like not only myself, but just all human beings, and all like lack of respect of like most people wouldn't even put their head on the earth like that to feel the earth and hear like what she has to say or how she feels, and to be within that for a couple of years and then traveling, doing that everywhere I went, it was beautiful, and then that taught me just how to connect. Like anywhere I go, it don't matter if I'm in the city or in the mountains, like so I could connect to whatever was there once there. I always tell people, before buildings, before electrical power lines, gas lines, there were sacred sites all throughout this country that every indigenous people have set up and had throughout. There was points of like vortexes. There was so many things throughout this country and throughout the world. And like I said, to be able to tap in and understand that. And then I got tired of kind of being amongst other people's spaces, because I kind of felt as if they were feeling bombarded by me, not necessarily in a bad way, but kind of like as if I'm taking their stuff, you know. And so I was just like, you know, this isn't who I am. Like I have a firm belief in a creator, you know, and Mother Earth, and I stand by that. And you know, I just don't care what you believe in. That's one thing, because you know, a lot of Indians, they always try to strut like their culture or their ceremonies, and I'm just like, I don't care like what you have. If it wasn't the creator and Mother Earth, you would not have those ceremonies. You would have not those practices. So instead of boasting that, why not give that to the creator, Mother Earth, who gave you your language, who gave you your ceremony, who gave you your feathers, who gave you all your creations and all your things that you do. It's like, so that was my mentality wherever I went. So it was like, if someone was trying to do something, it was just like, so I'm just talking to Creator Mother Earth and letting them know, like, this is what's up, this is what's going on, and this is what they're doing to me, and I need your help. And I started to understand about these practices, you know, and I was like, I gotta go home.
Can I jump in there real quick, Shane? Because you know, one of the things that I really enjoyed and learned about doing ceremony with you is in this Western world, particularly for people like myself and others who don't come with such deep connections to land or ancestry connected to land, we spin out a lot, right? We're trying to find the answers in books. We're trying to find the answers in a new yoga move, maybe with a new guru. You know, so we're always kind of searching. And then what I really appreciated about ceremony, which maybe you could tell us now, is just really how simple it is, man. It's about creation. It's about the creator. It's about this beautiful planet that gave us life, and just being grateful and saying thank you. And that act right there is the spiritual path, right? Humility and saying thank you, and being grateful for what we have. And you know, I really appreciated what you showed me. So maybe you know, how are you inspired? How are you inspired to create what you've created in terms of ceremony? Because I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, no, it was just it was a long process, you know, because like I said, growing up, going to Christian school, Catholic school, and you know, I've always had a firm belief in what they call God, you know, all these things. And, you know, it was just, it was always within me to have that understanding. And so basically, like growing up, like I said, I always knew. And then to come into the actual like teachings when I took the medicine of the truth, to say like, you know, God is real, and Mother Earth, you know, is real, and the Spirit is real. And that's what it took me to understand, just like I told you about, like that, you know, the universal foot about the questioning. It took me feeling complete, utter destruction outside of like death. And, you know, just to take me to the level to feel that. And then to now, like, have that respect, because like you were saying, just to say thank you. And that's what I've come to the terms to say, like, I'm not perfect, never going to, and I'm not going to strive to be, but like the creator of Mother Earth, like, know that like I ain't going to give up on showing you how much I appreciate you and how much I want like your children to appreciate you, because I'm your child, these are your children, and they all need to feel that, because I feel that's one of the reasons that we're acting this way, because we're missing that true connection. Just like if you don't have a connection with your father or mother, it hurts. It fucking hurts. And like you said, you could spiral out, whether it's substance, drinking, whether it's anger issues, all these things can spin out. And like I said, to come back and then deal with them. Wait, hang on a second. I gotta get my daughter. But yeah, and then to come back to my res and talk to the medicine man about the Wamkish and how he expressed like basically life, birth, death, all was processed in that Wamkish. So if you were born in the Wamkish. When you had a puberty rite ceremony, it was in the Wamkish. You got married, it was in the Wamkish. When you died, they cremated you in the Wamkish. And so like, to bring that back, because like I said, it teaches you about life. Because like I said, within our culture, there's basically like 3 important things in your life. When you're born, married, and when you die. It's all considered very sacred times of your life. The 3 most important sacred. Everything in between is just the sacred gifts that are bestowed upon every human being if they engage in it. But those 3 are the sacred things because those are basically the rights that we're given as human beings on this earth. And so, like I said, to come back and create that space, because it started with peyote. It didn't start with mushrooms. It didn't start with the mushrooms at all. Because like I said, when I lost my father, I had some friends from Oklahoma come down and we did peyote, and that helped get past the healing and the process of death of my father. And so within that time, though, it really connected me to that lodge, the Wamkish, because I felt it. Even when I was on the peyote in the Wamkish, before I called it the Wamkish, I already knew, like, this is a space. This is a space where I need to pray, heal, let it out, call God, call Mother Earth, whatever it is that I need to do to make my experience here better for me and whoever needs it. It needs to be done. And so I gave it a test run, and I was like, shoot, try some medicine, and boom, everything came back, and everything is connecting. And then we met, and now, like I said, Tage Bio wanted to come here, and many more things that are coming. Like, yeah, this shit is real.
Yeah, and again, it's just the way you do ceremony. It's so beautiful, so simple. We walk to the cedar tree, and I won't say too much. I'll let you describe whatever you want. But I just really appreciated. If we're going to use cedar, we go to the cedar tree, we collect it, we say a prayer, we thank Mother Earth, we thank the cedar tree, and same with the river, the rocks. Going back to to the sacred, really. And what you said about you experienced total destruction, and then you found the path. That was the same for me. I reached a point where I'd lost so much from my childhood, so many family members, that I'd given up and decided there was nothing sacred. And then I just let go. And that's when I found it, when I just finally let go of trying to solve things. And then all of a sudden Spirit spoke. And for me, it's been the same way, this incredible journey, meeting folks like yourself, and reconnecting with the divine of just being alive, So in terms of the ceremony itself, how did you come to learn? I mean, you've told me stories about, you've done a number of sittings yourself, and you had this incredible experience where you went into the cave and you heard the prayers, and it really opened you up to understand. And I'll say this, in sitting with you, you're a young man, you're 26 years old. And I tell people, one of my spiritual leaders is Shane, because as I sat with you, I realized you're 26 going on 2,000 years old, brother. You got some folks, some ancestry with you there, because the words you speak are profound in their spiritual simplicity, how to get us back to the start, back to the origin. again, a lot of people in this country are spinning out. They're trying to find answers in books. They're trying to find answers in science. They're trying to find answers in complex equations of, if I read these 10 books and study with this guru and do yoga in this way, and I play these sound bowls and I bang this drum, and maybe I'll find the sacred, when in reality it's right here all around us. And how'd you come to develop your method of ceremony?
Yeah, no, back to what you said earlier about like the simplicity of like what makes it so simple. And that's why I always ask, not always ask, but I kind of like to have discussions with people about like religion and faith, because like for me, I don't mind if you don't believe, but I want to know who I'm working with, because as far as me, it's like, okay, I'm a believer. Like, I guess like how you can see like diehard Christians or Mormons or Catholics, like that's how I am for what I do, but outside of the religious context. And so that's what I like to ask people, because it's that simple. It's just a matter of believing, and it's not even a matter of believing in whatever people are trying to believe in. It's because I always tell people it's beyond that. It's beyond even what you can conceptualize here. And because I always tell people, like, for instance, Freemasons and Illuminati, like when you get to this degree, they have this discussion about the creator, God, whatever, and they get to the expression to say it is beyond any man or woman's physical, mental, any manifestation. So without that, it's just the supreme ruler. It's just the supreme maker. Because at the end of the day, it supersedes what any of us could even conceptualize. So like where I'm trying to say is for people is no need to even go that far. Just understand it's here, and it wants to help your ass out all the time. And it wants to love you, take care of you, honor you, respect you, give you goddamn whatever you want, if that's what you want. But it's at the end of the day, though, it's like, it's still a matter of simplicity of thank you.
That's funny, because
Honor.
in my vision that I had with you, I was still stuck in that mind frame of trying to figure everything out. And so the creator said, okay, you want to try to figure everything out? Let me give you a download. And it went, and it sent so much information down. I was literally begging it to stop sending me information. And by the end of it, I said, okay, I got it. This is the great mystery. I'm not supposed to know everything. That's where you just got to believe, right? That's where you just say, there is so much out there. My brain is this tiny little thing. At some point, you just say, you tap and you go, okay, I believe. Like the great mysteries out there. The great mysteries out there.
Yeah, and it's so funny that you say like just believe, because I was talking to my people the other day. So like for my other bloodline, the Serranos, so like they say how we learn the death ceremonies and how to send our people back to the creator. So the story goes is that the creator was a human being at one time, and that's how our people learn, through oral tradition, through someone teaching how to build this lodge, how to do this fire, how to do this medicine, how to do this and that. And so the story goes is that the people didn't like that, because the people, before they were taught, they still had the ability to, I guess you could say, omnipresently explore things, but on their own will, meaning like they could engage with that knowledge, but if they wanted, rather than it being, I guess you could say, just forced upon them to be like, here, this is what you need to do, yada, yada, yada. And so the people conspired, and they said, let's kill this, let's kill the creator, let's do it. So within that time, when they killed the creator, as they killed the creator, that's how they taught. Like I said, that's how we learned to cremate. That's how we learned to do things, because the creator expressed to us when he passed how to do it, how to send him off. So then before he left, that's what he told, the last word that he told us, because he expressed to say, I'm never going to be here again. Like, I'm not going to be on this plane anymore, because like you guys don't want me here. It's apparent that you don't want me here on this plane this way. So he expressed like, you're not going to see me here on this earth again, but WAYTA'YAWA. And what WAYTA'YAWA means is always believe. And that's what he said. He said, always believe, even though you're not going to see me, if you always believe, WAYTA'YAWA, I'm going to be right there. I'm going to be right there with you. And then they say at that moment, the creator left, and at that moment, we haven't seen him since. And it's been some like, that's why I say excited about believe, because that's all it is just believe, and the rest will follow.
Yeah, especially when you look around us and you see, when you take your Western glasses off and you look around and you see the universe, creation, the planet, the rivers, the oceans, everything much bigger than we can possibly ever create. And you realize this is all creation. We're all just a part of it. Why did you, first of all, I want to thank you for being on the Decriminalize Nature board and participating in that. What does Decriminalize Nature mean to you?
Man, to me, it means all of the above in terms of just letting people learn. But the thing that I want to express is I want people to learn with caution. Meaning, like, so I'll share this story about the mountain lion and the coyote. So the mountain lion was cooking some food in his lodge, and he saw the coyote looking for food, and he noticed that the coyote couldn't get no food. So he's like, hey, come over to my lodge. I'll cook you up some food. I've noticed like you haven't eaten anything yet, so I'll cook you up something. So he brings him into his lodge. He's got a fire going, and then a mountain lion, he cuts a piece off of his leg and he throws it on the fire, and then coyote just eats it. And after he eats it, he's like, wait a minute, you cut that off your leg. You cut that off your own leg. Like how'd you do that? And so he goes, I have my gifts too. Like I have powers myself. I'm coyote. Like, so coyote takes a knife and he cuts a piece off his leg, and then next thing you know, he starts bleeding. He starts bleeding all over, and mountain lion goes, hey, like, what are you doing? You're bleeding all over my lodge. And then he expresses to him, he heals him up, and he goes, remember, he goes, I was made to do this, and if you were made to do this, you wouldn't be bleeding in my lodge. So that's why I express to me, like, be with caution with things, because for some people, I would say if you were already meant to be there, you would be there, like, and that's just coming from someone who does this medicine traditionally. Like, if you had that download, you would already be there. So that's why I try to tell people, like, be with caution, because some spaces are not meant for every human being to go there. It's just the facts of creation. Like, you can go there, but go there with caution if you're going to go to these dimensions, because some of these dimensions are not always made for just every free spirit that just wants to be a cosmic traveler.
Yeah, I want to appreciate
I have
that.
my fair shares of getting my shit eaten, chewed out by these spirits, so that's why I just share with people.
So the important piece there is Decriminalize Nature for those folks who want to go into plant medicine work, going with caution. It's not a competition. You don't have to do 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 grams.
80 grams.
Mushrooms. You don't have to do, a ayahuasca journey every month. You don't have to go back for the third cup. You do what?
You have to become a brewmaster.
Hmm? What's that?
No, say like a brewmaster, like if someone just started making ayahuasca.
Yeah, you want to do what feels right for you, and this is where we're knowing where you're at, knowing you're the coyote, not the mountain lion in that moment. We know, right? So the idea is stay humble. So you want Decrim Nature to make sure it gets word out about informing and educating people. What else does it mean to you? What do you think is the soul of the organization?
I think the soul is just basically for people to gain knowledge beyond what we can get here, and that's not in those terms. I'm saying within healing, within growth, within stability, love, peace. There's many factors of diving into this knowledge, but overall, you know, I think the core is just to give the people a space to dive in, and from there, you're gonna decide whether you want to continue or not. Because I mean, I've had days where shit, I almost hung up the gloves, but it's like, nah, can't. And some people will hang up the gloves, and there's nothing wrong with that, because this shit's hard. It's not easy.
Would you mind if I shared the picture of a petroglyph, or you prefer to keep that?
You can share it. It's fine.
Here's here's Shane with the petroglyph and the mushroom there. This goes back in his tradition many years. So there's anthropologists who like to say that that the American indigenous community did not do mushrooms, that the Mexica or the Aztec did mushrooms, or the Mayans, but this kind of shows that it was prolific throughout the Americas. So at least in Shane's neck of the woods there.
And even if it's not, I always tell people I'm doing it now. So
yeah,
it's happening.
Right on. So what else would you like to leave us with, Shane? We're going to be wrapping up here soon. Really appreciate you sharing your time, and you have a beautiful family. An opportunity to meet them, although I haven't met your daughter. I think she was just being born or still in the womb when I was down there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what are you up to these days? What's on your radar? You mentioned HBO coming out, so you're doing some education with some folks, or what?
Yeah, just definitely doing a lot of education. It's cool. Looking forward to again when you come, you know, and I'm just preparing, man, because I'm trying to get these space right, you know, not only like for my own family and household, but just for people, because I know within the time being that when it passes, that people are going to want to be coming here a lot, and people are going to want to really dive into this healing work and what we do here at the church, you know, and that's what I'm prepping for, because I know it's getting big, you know, just like the shit that we went through, you know, with Bronner and whatnot. Like, there's a lot of things that are gonna come in, and I'm prepping myself, because I already know, like, once those guys get a whiff of this and like get their shit blown back in a good way, like, it's gonna come, and there's gonna be snakes. But for me, it's like I want to prepare for that, because I already know it's coming. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and just be like, oh yeah, like, peace and love, man. Like, ain't no one gonna snake me. Like, bullshit, man. Like, it's gonna happen. So I'm just basically preparing and you know, lining up my ducks, and you know, looking forward to gonna probably buy a new house soon. So like, there's a lot of good things that are coming in, and I'm just ready for the work, because damn, we need it. And it's scary. It's scary for real. Like, not even the fact of like this COVID and shit, like, outside of all that, just the mass amounts of like people and production of like electronics and like military things. I always tell people, like, every military naval ship, every computer, cell phone, like, that shit needs earth minerals. That shit has to get mined out the earth somewhere. And if someone like America is trying to keep up with China, who's supposed to be like dominant of the sea by like 2040, like, motherfuckers are gonna need more submarine carriers, subs, jets, you know, you name it. And all those require minerals. And these damn cell phones, they're making them every 6 months, and they ain't quitting no time soon. So, yo, all this shit is getting crazy.
And they're not going to go mine all of that in Beverly Hills or even in Oakland, right? They're going to go mine that out in rural areas where we have a lot of folks who live on the land, indigenous communities worldwide. So yeah, and really, I think for me, that's what Decrim Nature movement is in many ways. It's recognizing that there are some fundamental human rights, including rights to the land, rights to access these healing medicine plants, right to perform ceremony how we choose to as human beings. And I want to say that I tell my own kids that things are not as complicated as people want you to believe. At the end of the day, the answers are very simple. You just look inward. You look at your heart, and the answer is there. So don't get overly complicated. As the world becomes complicated, I like the story you told me that somebody wanted to film inside of your Wamkish, and you said, nope, that's sacred space. That's fundamentally how simple things are. What is sacred to you? And then you protect.
Yeah, no,
And you protect.
no, it does, because it bothered me, like, with that incident, like, that was my only request. Like, I wasn't like being all petty, pitty ditty. It was just like, yo, one request, and you can't even see, like, from a human being standpoint, the respect from someone who is of like a faith organization, church, religious organization. Like, you cannot, just like if you were to go in a Jewish mosque and there were like no cameras in here, like, most likely they'd respect that, or a Christian or a Mormon church. But it's like, oh, we're going to some natives that are just on the res, like, they're not going to care. And it's like, you're not going to give me that respect when I ask you, like, this is sacred and you cannot film this part. There are parts you could film that are within the filming space to be filmed, but like, and you had to come at me as if like I'm like an angry Indian, I'm the mad, savage Indian who can't have a conversation, who doesn't know how to talk. Nah, it's not even that. It's like, that was one request, like, just respect my space of where I pray and where people really are coming to heal. And so the sacred to me is your relationship with what people call God and the earth. That is a sacred thing, and people have been murdered for that shit for years. Crusades, everything. It's like, that's what's sacred to me, is God and this earth. Like, it's sacred because everything that is comes from there. The water, the trees, the animals, the food, the air, the stars, the moon. So it's like, it's all sacred and it needs to get protected, and it's being degraded. Like, me and my bros were talking about, like, the earth is not your whorehouse. So it's like, the people are degrading the mother so bad. Like, it's fucking sick.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to do everything we can to help change that narrative and bring honor and respect and dignity and restore our relationship to the mother, to nature, to this beautiful planet that gives us life. Well, I really look forward to seeing where things go for you in a short amount of time. In a year, you had this vision, and now you've realized it, and now you got HBO. I'm going to be there with a group of veterans doing some healing work with you. So you're really doing amazing things. I want to thank you, Shane. I want to honor the work you're doing. Thank you for your support with Decriminalize, your guidance, your leadership, your spiritual leadership. And I really look forward to seeing where you are in 2, 5, 10, 20 years. And we're here for you, man. We're here for you. Right on.
And me as well for Decriminalize. I'm here all day. Like,
thank you, brother.
shit.
All right. With that, we're signing off.
All right.
Live from Decriminalize. Larry, what do we transition here?
Yep, thank you for listening to the Decriminalize Nature podcast. Thank you, Carlos Plazola and Shane Norte, for an amazing talk, and we look forward to many more in the future. And keep an eye out for upcoming podcasts as well. We'll be posting these on our YouTube channel and on Instagram. Have a beautiful day. Thank you, everyone.